Okay, hello there. My name is Eric, and today we'll be doing an exploration of two different words. One is liminal, and the other one is, I'm gonna say Lyman. No, it's not Lyman. It's limbo. So, limbo versus liminal. These are two similar words, but when I was thinking about it the other day, just like thinking about the actual objects, right? The images that kind of come to mind when you think of these, they're quite different. So as a result, I made this little short PowerPoint slide that's going to be going over my personal differences between them and why I find liminal to be a much more rich word. So, the threshold and the void, a personal semantic journey. I hope you can join me for it. So first, we have to define the liminal. So to me, the liminal is a rich word. It comes from the Latin limen, meaning threshold. It's the between space, right? You can think of it like a long hallway, so it's not really where you started, and it's not your room either, but it's that necessary space in between. It can also feel quite thin, right? When I think of it, it's not this very large place. It can feel quite, like the actual space itself can feel quite constrained. And it has a certain thinness, like spatially to it. Yet, in terms of time, it feels like it could go on forever. It kind of feels stuck in time almost. So, when you think of it through those dimensions, right, it has a physical space to it that might feel constrained, but like also perhaps quite long, right? You think of that hallway, but the actual like 3D space that it holds is thin. But then the time aspect is stuck. So it has that unsettling, kind of haunting strangeness to it, right? As I say here, like wafer thin slice of life that contains an infinite eternal perception. It really does have that. It's a very odd place to be in. And we'll get into the next slide. This can be a place that is both spatial or like psychological, internal, right? So the actual internal liminal shows that it's not really just a physical thing. The word liminal can describe the psychological too. And this might describe those years of your life where you've outgrown your old self, but you haven't quite yet inhabited your new one. You have a goal or you have an idea of who you want to be. You have an ideal and you're moving towards it. But there's still those old habits. There's still that old way of life. There's still that nostalgia for what once was, right? So it's this operation within the space that has movement to it, but might feel slow. Or you might even feel like you're standing still. So the way I see it here, and I found this very interesting, it's a state of being rather than a lack of being, right? You're being something, you're moving somewhere, but there is that, well, liminal feeling to it. It's just kind of forever. And you're not exactly sure what this place is. So, yeah, you need it to transform, you need it to move, but it also has that confusion and that fear to it. And once again, you see here this image, kind of a long hallway, right? You're moving somewhere, there's rooms, there's things, and it's going, but it just has that kind of weird eeriness to it. I'll move forward a bit too much. Okay, so now we look at limbo, which is the other word that I'm going into. So here, oh, what? No! Okay, so now we're going to look at limbo. So in contrast, limbo is a kind of suspension, right? If you think of liminality as a hallway, then limbo is that waiting room where the lights are off and no one is calling your name. So in my eyes, limbo lacks that richness and even the thinness of the liminal. A state of limbo is a suspension, right? You're in jail. There's nothing there's nothing to move towards. There is no space, there is no time There simply is, right? There is that darkness to it. And you might get taken out of limbo eventually, but while you're in it, it feels eternal. And again, this can apply to the psychological or to the physical, and it still has a lot of value, but it doesn't, again, have that same kind of color, that richness, that space to it. It's just kind of nothingness, right? The null, the void. Those are closer synonyms than liminal to the word limbo. And I mean, to me, it's just that kind of ultimate scary place. Like a dream, I would think of that more as liminal than limbo. Because during a dream, a lot's happening in your mind. You can, there's a lot of action, a lot of things. It's still a transitionary period between fully being awake and like being in deep sleep, but you're not really in either one. And it can get pretty wacky, but it can still have that familiarity to it. Whereas limbo, I mean, you could think of that, well, I don't even want to compare it to sleep at all, because a lot of stuff happens in your brain at all times during sleep, but it would be closer to deep sleep than REM. Anyways, okay, so that's limbo right there. Now if we look at the actual semantic divide between the two, well, this reveals a bit more, right? We see that the liminal has a direction, it has life to it, there's that unease, there's familiarity, there's a transformation, while limbo is just static nothingness. Just dark. Darkness. So yeah, when we look at it side by side, the difference is super clear. Liminality is that kind of space within your character. It's functional and transitional, while limbo is a suspension in time. It's just a vacuum. Right? So, here to the conclusion. You want to embrace the threshold. The threshold. You want to embrace the threshold. Embrace the threshold, right? So, I personally prefer the word liminal because it acknowledges the beauty in that kind of scary and confusing place. It also has that familiarity. It has, again, as I've said so many times, that richness, that life to it. It's an odd place to be in, but at least it is a place, right? It reminds me that even when we do feel stuck in the hallway, we're still technically our way going somewhere, right? We're on our way somewhere. So yeah, that's the exploration of these two things. If we're rarely in limbo, we're always almost on the threshold. I like that. And just hopefully you enjoyed the video. All of the images were taken from Pexels, which is a site with free images, really cool ones. Thank you for listening, and if you agree, disagree, write in the comments. Thank you. Bye-bye.